Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Recruiting Podcast. I'm Alex Rojas, your talent advisor and host. Today's episode, it's all about marketing your recruiter skills. I'm going to share with you 5 powerful ways to make your recruiting image and reputation stand out. So what I want to do is I want to give you some background on myself because I think this aligns really nicely with really the theme of this episode. So I started out earlier this year, January 2024, I made a commitment that I was going to rebrand and remarket myself. And so what I did was I took my nearly 3 decades of experience within talent acquisition. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to bundle that up and see how I could pull together content to share with a community. So up until that point, my network was very close. It was very tight. It's kind of inclusive. And I really didn't do much to maneuver it or to position it the right way that I should have. And so I decided to activate it. And I did a few things here. I went with the idea that I wanted to start a YouTube podcast. And so then I promoted my training and development program called the Top 1% Recruiter. And based on that kind of launched my initiative and effort. Now, what happened about midpoint this year, we saw the conditions within talent acquisition market change dramatically for a lot of our colleagues. So I adjusted and tweaked really my approach, my marketing approach. And really what I wanted to do is I wanted to rebrand myself and really recognize that I wanted to be a voice for all of talent acquisition on corporate leadership topics and really content that's out there. I launched the Mindset Recruiting Podcast mid-year, and really that resulted in me being able to 3x my LinkedIn network. So I'm very methodical in how I grow my network. 155 plus LinkedIn posts this year, over 100,000 impressions that I've been able to produce out of that result. And really what it's done, it's starting to open some doors for me as far as opportunities. But more importantly, it's really kind of positioned me, I would say, to really establish a digital reputation. And that validates the body of my work, of my experience, of my level of expertise. That's what this episode is about. I want you to stick around to the closing commentary because I'm going to share with you the biggest mistake that recruiters make when it comes to marketing their recruiter skills. I'm ready. I'm pumped. I'm excited. Let's discuss. Okay, so let's get after this. I'm going to give you the 5 ways, again, to make your recruiting image stand out, your reputation stand out. So number 1, this is going to be obvious here, but I'm going to really make sure that this has got to be the anchor of kind of where you should start. And it starts with leveraging LinkedIn. You have to go all in on LinkedIn. And again, LinkedIn really puts some boundaries on how much you can multiply or grow your network. But this means that you have to be very diligent when it comes to making meaningful connections, expanding your network, following certain people within your industry, colleagues, and things of that nature. It also means that you have to start establishing a regular cadence when it comes to posting and also liking other people's posts. You have to get active in the LinkedIn feeds. You have to make sure that you comment and you share and repost good information that you're seeing out there within LinkedIn. The other thing about LinkedIn that you have to go all in on is you got to go ahead and make sure that you're established in some of these groups. It doesn't just mean going ahead and being part of a group. You have to contribute. Be part of, once you start doing this, LinkedIn will reach out to you and they want to make sure that you are recognized for one of the voices within LinkedIn within your profession. Go ahead and participate. LinkedIn has done a great job in participating and really bringing these live webinars up to the front fold, newsletters, making sure that you follow those. Of course, do all the traditional things and making recommendations for your colleagues. It's not just all about jobs within LinkedIn, meaning don't just leverage LinkedIn to find candidates. There's an absolute goldmine for you to go ahead and really rebrand yourself and really put yourself out there within the community, all by leveraging LinkedIn. Number 2 on this list is going to be personal branding. And so this is really important. Again, we're talking about personal branding, a really quick fix, something that you can do right away. It might just take a little bit of time. It's going to go back to your LinkedIn homepage. Your banner matters. You can tell a lot by a banner. There's a lot that you can put on that banner. It's pretty wide and you can put a lot of good content in there. That also means, again, you always hear this, update your photo. How long has it been? I think at least every 1 year to 18 months, maybe 2 years max. If it's any older than 2 years, you're dated now. So that's something that recruiters and managers and people that looked in at LinkedIn postings, whenever they look at a profile, they will look at that profile picture and they'll say, that's a dated picture. Don't be that person, right? So make sure that you update your bio, your biography, the features, the features section within your LinkedIn homepage matters. Make sure that you can go ahead and apply links to that as well. And there's a great way to kind of promote yourself, whether you have a podcast or some previous posts that gained a lot of traction, you can highlight those. Maybe you have upcoming webinars, maybe you've participated in panel discussions, or you've written some articles or blogs out there. There's a lot of content that you can put there, but more importantly, you're going to have an opportunity on this page for you to define your strengths, your niche. And this is going to be important for you to continue personally branding yourself in other social media platforms. It's not just LinkedIn. There's going to be other ones. Now, I've dabbled with TikTok, with Facebook, with Instagram, with YouTube Shorts. And so there's going to be opportunities, obviously, that you're going to be able to go ahead and expand your brand beyond LinkedIn. And then the other thing that I would just quickly say about personal branding is you really want to focus on developing a brand statement. And so for me, I've really positioned myself to be a talent advisor, a podcast host, and really also I've kind of positioned myself kind of an all-in when it comes to conversational artificial intelligence. I consider myself to be evangelist when it comes to this type of technology. So I've really niched really my level of expertise, and it really complements my years of experience that I have working within talent acquisition. And that's how I personally branded myself. It takes a little bit of thought to think about where your strengths are and how you can position your personal brand. Okay, the third way that you can make your recruiting image stand out, and these are powerful ways that you can do this, it always goes back to what? To the resume, to our skill sets, and updating these areas. So that means we got to go back to the foundation of what recruiting is all about. It's always about the resume. So you have to go back and dust off that resume, go ahead, run it through a ChatGPT, run it through a few different cycles. Don't just conform to one resume. It's always good to have 2 or maybe even 3 flavors of resumes that can kind of show a little bit of a targeted sort of opportunity that you're going after. Now, there may be some positions where you might have to tweak it accordingly, and so you might want to emphasize certain competencies when it comes to that. But go through the resume and go through everything from objectives to the different types of conferences that you've attended. Maybe you've gotten some certifications that have been updated. Again, you also want to focus on some of the technology out there. It's really important for companies to recognize that you are on top of the technology. Don't be one of those old school dogs that doesn't discover any new tricks out there. So it's really important. And if you're especially if you're starting your career in recruiting, go ahead and adapt to some of these AI tools that are out there. Go ahead and really make it known what are the best practices that you're known for as well. Just by doing this, just by enhancing your updated resume and your skills, it can do a lot to kind of give you that confidence and really understanding how good you are at what you do. Okay, number 4 on this list, it's all about interview success. In order to be really good at interviews, you have to be really good at telling stories, being a good storyteller about yourself, about the subject that you know the most about is really important. And so there's a lot of different things that you want to go ahead and do in a traditional interview. Of course, you want to be able to leverage metrics to quantify what you've done. Of course, if you've done 50 hires in a year, 100 hires in a year, you've managed a team, whatever that may be, absolutely anything from a quantification standpoint, you want to go ahead and list that out. But you also want to focus on where are your leadership capabilities. Every company wants to hire a leader, whether you're a born or a proven leader or an upcoming leader or have potential to become a leader. Make sure that you highlight that and go ahead and dig into that and find out, where have I demonstrated good leadership qualities? Maybe it was my problem solving skills, or maybe it was leading small teams or overcoming challenges or executing on ideas and concepts or coming up with innovative projects and seeing those through, or being a technology evangelist in a certain area. These things will help you define and scope out and really framework your story that you want to tell to the other people that you're talking to when it comes to interviewing, so you can land that next gig. And finally, the fifth way to make your recruiter reputation stand out, it's all about talent acquisition industry events. This is so important because what happens is a lot of recruiters get very comfortable, get very complacent, and you need to get out of that comfort zone. You need to make sure post-pandemic is gone now. It's been a couple of years now since we've been removed by this. And so now we should have already been integrated into society. And that means attending events, whether you're doing them in person or virtually. Again, I'm a big proponent for talent acquisition, recruiting local chapters. There's a lot of local chapters in big cities that you can definitely be part of. And if you're not, go ahead and join one of those or create one of those. But go ahead and also participate in webinars, go to these conferences. There's at least 8 to 10 to 12 different conferences per year just within talent acquisition alone. If you're not participating or going in these conferences, you're being left behind. You're missing out on those opportunities to network. And of course, there's always happy hours. We love happy hours. So make sure that you're at least getting out there, shaking hands with your colleagues and with industry players within talent acquisition. Now, it's also going to be important here to understand that once you make these connections, it's really important to actually stay in contact with your connections. And so there's a great book on how to win friends and influence people. I think it's by Dale Carnegie. Really important because a lot of times the aftermath of what happens. And so you want to be able to, whatever your communication style is, you got to go ahead and pick up the phone, make a phone call, send an email, send a text, send an in-mail, post something on it, or respond a comment to something that they've posted. There's so many different ways that you can communicate these days without putting so much effort into it. But if you're not doing it, you're not doing anything at all. And you should take advantage of the TA industry events that are happening on all different levels. Well, there you have it. 5 powerful ways to make your recruiter image and reputation stand out. And it's time for closing commentary mindset. And so I think the biggest thing that I want to leave you here with is I'm always going to give you content and information and education on how you can start implementing these strategies right away. So it's up to you to be able to take this and run with it. Remember, recruiting is all about sales, marketing, branding, and of course, hiring. You should embrace every one of these components: sales, marketing, branding, and hiring. The biggest mistake that recruiters make whenever they look at how they're going to market themselves or how they're going to build their reputation and their image is that they tend to focus too much on the company that they're working at, or they focus too much on their job, or they focus too much on just filling jobs. And there is so much more when it comes to recruiting. And a lot of recruiters will say, I work at so-and-so company, this is my role, and these are the jobs that I fill. And then that becomes your day in and day out. And that ultimately becomes your brand, is the company, is the title, is all about filling jobs. It's all those extracurricular things that you do outside of the bulk of your deliverables that matters. That's what's going to build your brand and your reputation. reputation. So it's really important for you to have a good pulse on the market. I'm a big proponent. I say this all the time. Have a pulse on the marketplace. Understand what's going on within the industry. Take time out of your day from sourcing, from interviewing, from screening, from meetings to go ahead and read some articles, follow some podcasters, some influencers, make some comments, join these webinars, and actually show up for the webinars. There's a lot of recruiters, including myself. I've done this where I register for webinars and I don't attend the webinars, and then I'm trying to find the recording, but take advantage of it. Figure out what your niche is, where your area of interest is, where there's a passion within recruiting, what separates you from other recruiters, and how can you help a new contact, a new colleague stay in touch with your network. Make sure that you not only activate it, but you nurture those relationships. I hope this episode was informative. Please remember to like, to subscribe, and as always, comment and share. It helps the podcast grow. And until next time, remember, it's all about the mindset.